Pass me the AUX, blow speakers up.
Hey, man, listen. When you get real energy, man, you just let the real energy flow, man. We live and direct on Past the AUX Sessions with the one and only Ya Minko. How you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling real good. I appreciate being here, and I feel blessed to be here.
Definitely, man. Hey.
The rain, I'm thinking of Prince.
Hey, man, listen. The rain don't ever stop nothing from going insane, man, especially you, because with that performance that you did, first off, the intro verse was crazy. Let's go ahead and get into what inspired you to put that intro verse before the song, bro.
So, I like that. I want you to know who I am before I entertain you. And that's who I am. I'm a thinker. I'm observing this. I'm socially conscious and aware of what's going on around here, and I want you to know that I'm not just here to do this and entertain you and get some bread out of you. I want us to find solutions together. And for us to find solutions together, you have to know what I'm worried about. And I'm worried about that. I'm worried about rent. I'm worried about gas. Everyone in that room is looking good and looking right and looking all that shit, but we all know how the gas prices and the rent skyrocketed in DC. We all know that people are working harder than they're getting paid. We all know that people are these things need to be in the conversation no matter what happens next. So I'm giving you that first.
Intention is at the core of everything you trying to put out, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
My man. So look, hey, the opening verse was crazy, and that led right into pretty much the star single that you got out right now, Skedaddle, which I was talking with you about that. That was an odd word to find the main point of your song. Like, you gotta let me know how you even came up with the melody and the word around that, man.
Oh yeah, I mean the word in and of itself, every single one of my song or the lines, I can track back to something that happened in real life. So I was on a date, and eventually we're about to leave the place because the energy is tension. I'm like, yo, let's get out of here. And she looked at me funny because she was like, who the fuck still uses that word?
But it flowed though.
But it worked. It worked. I was like, yeah. Let's get out. Let's get out of here. She was like, okay. And then so we were talking about like music consumption and everything, and I get a little wordy and brainy with my stuff. And one of my goals this year has been to simplify without bastardizing. And one of the things that does that well for me is, finding little pockets like this, because if I'm using a word like skedaddle, it's like, I know you're here to entertain me, but you're also thinking about something that's a little left field. And the world just sounded so good. So here I am in the car like, get out of here. Let's skedaddle. And I'm like, I want to build a record around that. I think there's something around that. And then the challenge to me then becomes, how do I do more? It's like good storytelling. Like, good storytelling is a sequence of events, and then that sequence of events has to highlight a thematic. So it's like, okay, I have skedaddle, I have the motion, but what am I trying to say here? Why are we getting out of here? What's going on? What's the thing? And it's like, oh, we're carrying all these things. And that's why the bridge says, I know so often. It's because I know the things we're running from. I know the things we're trying to escape. We're escaping reality through this moment with each other. Right. We all have various layers of hardship that we're dealing with, and yet we're here doing this. Our problems didn't stop. It didn't stop raining outside, but we have to create that time. And that's what the song ended up being about. How do we exit these difficulties through one another? And that's skedaddle.
Saturday night preaching like a Sunday morning, man. We here live and direct, man. I just gotta say, this brother right here, like, you could tell with everything that he's saying, even with the sounds down to his lyrics, is with direct intention, brother. That is something that's very appreciative as an admirer of art and just artists. Going into the next question, for sure, man, for sure. Going into the next question, you got to touch into this Afropolitan hip fusion genre and the sound that you created for yourself. What were the main ideas that you had around creating this sound and genre for yourself?
So I didn't create the sound. I found myself in the middle of it. Every time I have to, if you're an artist and you're doing your own administrative stuff and you have to send your music to blogs, you have to talk to journalists, you have to do all this stuff. And it's like, hey, I make hip hop records, but not really. I have some R&B elements, but not really. I have pop, but not really. I have Afro, but not really. So it ends up being a mix of all these things, and I'm like, I don't really have a sound so much as I have an identity. I'm an immigrant. I moved out of Gabon 10 years ago to be here and do this. I grew up speaking French because my country was colonized by the French a long time ago. My identity is existing in various countries at the same time because I both choose and end up being, you know, someone pushed out of where I'm from, because to express the freedom of my ideas and my identity, I have to go somewhere else. And there's a word for that diaspora, for those people who both exist in their home country and the people who are outside, and that's what ended up being called Afropolitan folks. It's the Afro diaspora that is also existing in various metropolitan areas in the world. And that's a lot of who I am. My identity is diverse and exists in so many layers that I couldn't tell you just one thing. The hip is about staying current and staying in the moment, but it's also about the fact that it comes from hip hop at the end of the day. And the fusion is, well, you're fusing all these things. Afropolitan hip fusion. And that's where it comes from. That's who I am. That's what I've become. I released an album last year that I called Debriefing, and every time I sent it to blogs, it was so difficult because the fourth track on the project is an Afro record. The first track on it is like some kind of like worldy pop. I don't know what to call that. The last track of the record is pure hip hop. Some of it is in French. Some of it is like, so I can't present that to you as a genre. I have to present that to you as an identity.
Right.
Afropolitan hip fusion.
That's a statement. That's a statement, man. Hey, that's all you needed to hear from my mans. Like, obviously, you got to check my mans out. Listen to that Skedaddle joint. We are live. Listen to Skedaddle and Skedaddle your ass to the DSP that is playing on. We are live and direct with the one and only
Ya Minko, Y-A-M-I-N-K-O. You heard from me here. You'll hear from me in stadiums around the world someday.
And it won't be the last. We having a blast live and direct. Pass the AUX, my boy.
Yeah.